Okay, this is a much overdue vlog of after baby, and everyone's like, no one talks about the after. What do we mean by the after, Natalie?
Well, so yeah, we always talk about like the labor and delivery, and then all of a sudden it's like the stories stop.
But yeah, for 10 months you talk about you're so afraid to poop on the table. Everyone's like, I'm afraid to poop on the table, right? Weren't you afraid to poop on the table?
Mm-hmm.
And you're afraid about like spreading your legs and everyone going up there and checking things out
and the tearing and all that. But nobody talks about right after you've had that baby, and even when you're still in the hospital, there's so much that's going on in your body and in that room, and the nurses don't even really like, it kind of happens to you, and then you're like, oh, and then
they throw bottles and they throw diapers at like big massive pads at you, and they're like, do this, and you're like, what is going on? And then someone's grabbing your boob and throwing a baby on your boob, and you're like, it's bleeding. You're like, what? Right? You know?
Totally. And it's like the nurses have probably, like, they see like so many newborn babies and new moms that I think they forget that it could be our first time, or even if it's not our first time, it's our second time.
I forgot about the third time. I remember I said to you, I'm like, oh boy, I forgot about all of that.
And you're kind of looking to your partner to be like what's going on, and what the heck do they know about it?
Are you ready? Let's just break it down. So after you have the baby, if you have stitches, maybe you don't have stitches, your vajayjay gets so swollen. It's like a punching bag, right? In yours, no?
I don't remember this.
Yeah, it gets swollen because it's been pushing. It's huge. And then they give you this bottle. It's like a squirt bottle, and you have to squirt down there every time you go to the bathroom. But if you get an epidural, and this is the hardest thing, if you get an epidural and you get a catheter, they remove the catheter and you can't leave the hospital until you can pee, right? Or you have to pee within a certain amount of time. It is so hard to pee. It's like your bladder.
Tell you like how long you're gonna bleed and what's normal and how much blood is actually gonna come out, and how every single time, yeah, you look down and you're like, oh my gosh, like, am I okay? There's a lot of blood that comes out. I mean, if you think about it, it's logical, but no one
tells you about it.
Really expect that.
And then when your milk doesn't come in, why does no one tell you that? So when you're breastfeeding, your milk doesn't come in for like sometimes like a week. So you're sitting there with a hungry baby, and they're constantly on your boobies, and then your boobies bleed, and then they break open, and then your boobs get so massive and engorged. And no one tells you about that. And then if they kill, you can't even lie down. If someone hugs you, you're like, ah, and then eventually your milk comes in, and it's just so much.
It's just such a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It's too much. It's too much for one person to handle. Anyways, we do handle it, and that's why we're like in the trenches all together.
What about having to, like, you don't have to go number 2 before you leave the hospital? It gives me so much anxiety.
Gosh.
Because like it's not like it's easy, right?
Can't.
You're afraid to push because you think everything in your whole body's gonna fall out.
It feels like that. Like even sitting down to go pee, you're like, oh my gosh. Even laughing, you feel like your whole uterus is gonna fall out.
And you want to wait till you really have to go. But like, you have such anxiety from having a newborn baby and taking care of the family, that when is a great time to just go sit on the toilet?
When Catherine's over, I made you go.
Well, the last time I was like, Catherine, I really feel like I have to go, but every time I go, I can't go.
She was
like, I'm gonna take the kids. You don't come out of that bathroom until you have gone. And I just had a moment where I could relax. I was thinking, like, okay, I get it. And then I felt so much better.
It's the thing, if you're not a mom, you're not gonna understand this, but your first poo and pee, and they won't let you eat until you've passed gas. So you have to tell the nurse you farted. Like, guess what? I farted. I can eat now. It is so embarrassing. There's nothing that is like
so embarrassing.
So that's if you have drugs. What else is the bad thing about it? Oh, I mean, I feel like I'm missing some, but I'm not trying to scare people, but boy, oh boy.
After the epidural wears off, you get so itchy.
Yeah, it's like
all you want to do is itch, but your skin's kind of like a numb.
My nose. Itchy. I was like that. Then it was like this. I was bleeding because I was itching so much. That's kind of our tips, right? There's not even tips. It's just a horror story. That's our horror story.
That's our horror story. Oh my gosh.
There is nothing. I would say the labor is way better than the after. Way better. And then you bleed and 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 you squirt and Epsom salt bath, and you have stitches down there. If you have stitches down there and you're trying to like wipe and it stings. And it stings because you peed. Also, and they get itchy because they're healing.
I would wake up dripping in sweat in my bed. I was like, it's just something on, like my pillow was wet. And I guess it's from like the nursing and everything.
I also think it was from water retention. Like why it's so much water.
No, I sweat for months. wake up dripping in sweat for months. I heard it's
sweat.
nursing, I don't know, but like it's such a weird feeling because like you're not hot, but you're dripping in sweat.
Dripping your boob.
Can I just say one last thing?
Oh, sure can. Go for it.
Even though we just told that horror story, Catherine did it 3 times, I did it 4 times, and we would do it again.
Yep, can't wait to go home and see that little face. Kiss her face off. Can't wait. That's it.